Welcome back. Well, our weather just fine. Thank you. Almost feeling guilty when we have to talk about such a horrible hurricane over by Florida. So let's get to it and take a look at that water vapor imagery. Tons of dry air moving into the Gulf of Mexico behind an upper trough that we knew was going to pick up our storm Milton and pretty much delivered what it promised. A really rough night ahead. Fortunately, because of that drier air, this system becoming more extratropical in nature than purely tropical, which means it's more changing over to like a nor'easter. It'll be like that once it gets into the Atlantic Ocean. But it's been a rough night across Florida. Let's dial into the regional radars. And again, you can see the very heavy rain across central Florida. Rain band way out in the ocean, but that was along the east coast of Florida earlier today. 126 tornado warnings issued, and they were big tornadoes, wedge tornadoes that were moving at 50, 60 miles an hour. Unbelievable tornado outbreak today. Heavy rain, and it's been a lopsided storm. Most of the heavy rains to the north, the storm surge, and some wind to the south. But the worst weather right now moving right across central Florida. And boy, it's been bad in around the Tampa area with very heavy rainfall. And as we take a look at some of our storm tracking here, you'll notice that most of the storms that show any rotation are offshore. Nothing showing up inland, but there is very heavy rain. Flash flood emergency in around the Tampa St. Pete area, where in about 4 hours time, about 15 inches of rain fell. And that heavy rain is now moving through the Lakeland area on up through Orlando. And this is the part of the storm. If you remember back to Hurricane Lily, it was kind of shaped like this, where the worst part of the storm was on the northern and northwestern part of the storm. This one mostly northern to northeastern part. And there's going to be widespread flooding from Lakeland over to Orlando on top of the wind gusts. And we'll get to that in just a bit. 45 minutes ago, there was over 1.6 million. That's past 1.7 million power outages across Florida, and everything's going to turn red and go to the East Coast through the overnight hours. So probably double or triple the number of folks without power by tomorrow morning. Hate to see the images when they come in tomorrow, but this is going to be a pretty bad storm by any stretch of the imagination, of course. So right now, Category 2, the actual center is just to the west of Sebring, so you can see all the heavy convection north of the system. Category 2, 105-mile-an-hour winds. Moving to the east-northeast, pressure beginning to fill in. And again, this is going to move off the coast first thing tomorrow morning. But again, remind you, the areas in orange here are sustained hurricane winds reaching the Lakeland area. But that doesn't include wind gusts, which are in the 80, 90-mile-per-hour range across much of that region. And the storm surge, well, fortunately, not bad for Tampa Bay. That is because we've had mostly a north wind, so just several feet there. But down towards Port Charlotte, we're looking at 5 to 8 feet, if not more. And the National Hurricane Center's latest forecast up to 9 to 13 feet, up to 12 feet down through Fort Myers. Folks are just reeling from Helene and also Ian 2 years ago. It's kind of a sad story to even tell at this point. So here's the graph model again showing the storm lopsided with that heaviest convection finally moving offshore as we get closer to daybreak tomorrow. But we'll notice those wind gusts. Anything in purple here, it's gusting over 70, could gust to 100 in spots. We see that all the way up through DeLand and the Daytona Beach area through first thing tomorrow morning. Then the storm moves out to sea. And notice, once it's out to sea, you see those higher gusts because there's less friction and the storm is more organized. And once again, about an 8 to 12-inch stripe of very heavy rainfall, maybe some isolated areas up to 18 to 20 inches with this particular storm. Meanwhile, for us, it's all gravy, or maybe it's gumbo. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s for tomorrow morning for northern parishes of Acadiana, 59 for Lafayette. Tomorrow morning we were 55 this morning, which, by the way, was the coolest reading since April 23rd. So fall is just about fallen here. Upper 50s along the coast. Then tomorrow we'll warm up, get into the upper 80s. Tomorrow night maybe not quite as cool, but we'll favor upper 50s to lower 60s as we head to your daybreak on Friday. So overnight tonight we'll go 59 for that low. You can keep the windows open once again. Just look out for the mosquitoes. Less wind tonight, more mosquitoes out there looking for warm bodies. And then for tomorrow, 89 the projected high with lots of sunshine out there. It's just going to be a gorgeous day. And wall-to-wall sunshine stays in the forecast. Temperatures pushing into the lower 90s Sunday into early next week. But here comes another front, and then finally feeling like fall as we get into the middle part of next week with highs in the 70s and lows maybe pushing the upper 40s for portions of Acadiana. That's it for weather for now. I gotta go. We'll see you later.